Alright, I know I don't do videos very often, but I have been asked plenty of times how I go about my readings, why I've started to charge for my readings, and why I don't always do complete readings. So, this is how I read a doll or any other object for that matter. My go-to tool is a pendulum. And I've got quite the crazy collection right now. I'll show you guys the different ones that I have if I can. This is agate. This was my first one, which is the one I'll be using for today's video. This is rose quartz. This would be my second metal one. I don't actually have my first metal one with me right now. We've got a very heavy metal and stone. And the stone is opalite. And then this is my newest one from Salem. It's actually got a little seed as part of the weight, which is pretty cool. Anyway, since this is the one I've bonded with most, it's the one that I'm going to use. I also have a voice recorder, which I love to use while I'm asking questions, to see if I can actually pick up any voices. However, batteries are dead and I can't seem to find anything but AA's right now. So we won't be using this in today's video, sadly. The other thing I like to use is a pendulum board. It makes things a little easier and a little faster. Not a whole lot, but it does help a bit. And then I have a writing utensil and a notebook because I try to keep track of everybody's information. Because I have a terrible memory, writing it down helps. I also like to send these out when I adopt out a spirit so the information can be kept. I don't always remember, and I do apologize for that. Anyway, this little cutie is going to be our reading doll today. As you can see, she's porcelain. She's seated. Her head does not move. And she's got some pretty good damage here. It looks like somebody had to re-glue her entire leg on. Not sure what happened there, but I do rescue a lot of these babies in giant unwanted boxes. So we'll see what she has to say. Now, pendulums are best for yes or no questions. While I work with a spirit, my pendulum swings back or up and down for yes and side to side for no, and then circular if they don't want to answer or it's a maybe, they don't really have an answer. I tend to keep my questions as simple as possible. While I read, I often get words or images in my head as well. This has developed more and more as I read. I will note them vocally if they happen while I do my reading. So, let's start out. We're going to start out very simple. Can you tell me, is there a spirit attached to this item? Always stop the pendulum, because sometimes if it's going, they can't get it to stop themselves. Are you the spirit of a little girl? Are you the spirit of a little boy? Now there was a little bit of motion with the first question about being a girl, but the stronger motion came when I asked if it was a boy. So that's the one we're going to take as the correct answer. Now, this is where the pendulum board comes in a bit handy. So we're going to move both items in front of me. I would like the spirit in this doll to swing the pendulum in the direction of the first number of their age. You swung in the direction of 5. Are you 5 years old? And that's how I get their age. So we know it's a boy, and he's about 5 years old. Usually they're pretty accurate when I ask them that. Next one's a bit harder because we have to spell out their name. They don't always just give them to me. So, can you swing the pendulum now in the direction of the first letter of your name? That curved a little. Is the first letter E? Is the first letter D? Is the first letter F? So the first letter is E. Now, while I was deciding on the first letter, the name Ethan came to mind. Is your name Ethan? Thank you very much, Ethan. Do you want to continue to talk? Alright, so he's still interested in talking. But first, before we go any farther, we know his name is Ethan. He's a boy. And he's 5 years old. Now, the hardest question to ask a spirit usually involves their death. So I always check to see if they're even okay with talking about it. Ethan, are you okay with talking about how you passed away? Alright, now this is where I start to use simple words to figure out what direction we're going in. Ethan, were you murdered? Was your death an accident? Alright, when I asked accident, I got the image of water. Was water involved? Alright, so an accident with water. Were you on a boat? No boat. I get fishing. Were you fishing? Were you on a dock? Were you at the edge of a river? I'm assuming you fell in. Alright, so we know that Ethan fell into a river while fishing and drowned. We can go a little farther. Did you slip on a rock? Did you catch a fish? Okay, so we caught a fish. Did the fish pull so hard you fell in? There you go. So before we get any farther, I'm going to note that. Now, some people like a lot of detail. To me, that'd be enough. But we'll ask them a few more questions. Ethan, who are you fishing with? Were you fishing with your dad? Was the water fast? Did your dad jump in to save you? Those were all yes questions, or yes answers. Was he able to get to you? Was he able to pull you out before you died? So even though Ethan's father was able to reach him in the water, he was unable to pull him out before it was too late. And we can note that as well. there you have it. That's how I begin reading my dolls. Some of them have more energy than others. Some of them, like the younger ones here, rely a lot on my energy. They use my energy, they manipulate my energy to swing the pendulum. And because they are using my energy, it gets very exhausting. I usually do 3 complete reads. I'll ask Ethan a few more questions, but you know, after 3 I'm usually toast, and that's all I can do. That's why lately you have been seeing a lot where there's very little information. My new work schedule has me beat, being up at 4:30 in the morning, and I just don't have the energy. However, it's not fair to all the spirits here looking for new homes to just have them sit here. I'll give you a little glimpse of the dolls I still have to read, and I still have to either find homes for or figure out where they're going to go because they want to stay here. So here's a little glimpse of the current work in progress. Okay, so not all those dolls are spirited. Some of the ones in the back I've already confirmed are not. However, most of these are, and most of them need a lot of work. Not all of them will go up for adoption. Some of them are part of my personal collection and have been read already. But this is my work in progress pile. I don't have every day to do this. When I do, I have to decide, you know, on my time off, am I going to read dolls, or am I going to do something else with my time? Am I going to play a video game or read a book or something like that? I have to decide between hobbies because I don't have a lot of free time. So, let's thank little Ethan for talking with us. He was so helpful and answered questions so beautifully. Thank you very much. And if you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask on this video. Bye!